How's it going, everybody? Thank you for joining us today on this Wednesday, 31st of July, 2024. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us today on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Rumble, and Pill.net.
And if you haven't already, please take a moment and give me that. Excuse me. Frog.
What?
Frog in my throat.
Yeah, it's not working. Oh, yeah, there it is. Hey.
Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead and give us that virtual hug. If you're over on Rumble or YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're over on Pill, take that red pill. If you're over on X, smash that heart. And welcome to Wednesday.
Yeah, welcome to Wednesday. Mitwoke, almost done, halfway done with the week. Thank God.
We are.
Actually, it's not that bad.
It's not.
No, it's not. What's up, Aaron? Yeah, got here first today. Got to rub it in. There's F. Clan. Yo, what's up, F. Clan?
He's making steaks.
He is. I know. It sounded really good. Yeah, he's making New York strips.
There's Renee.
Hey, Renee. Thanks for joining. Thanks for chiming in. There's Brother Bill.
Brother Bill.
What's going on, Brother Bill? And Steph.
Steph.
She's making chicken salad. Sounds good, too. What's up? Hey, Chachi.
Silly.
And then people are still showing up here.
I know.
Got quite the crowd showing up.
That's okay.
Chatting in the chats.
Got Miss Bethany.
There's Bethany Ann. Bethany Ann. Thanks for joining us.
Bill's waiting on Trump to take the stage in Pennsylvania.
I don't know if anything, new and exciting is going to pop up in there, but I know that that's kind of just showing everybody that, he's here. Hey, Jan. Graham Jam.
There's Tracy.
There's Tracy. How you doing, Tracy? Thanks for joining us. All right. And then Bethany's doing the whole list.
Yes.
Nice to see. All right.
So how was everyone's day?
Well, I mean, you know how my day was.
I know.
Yeah. It was a good day. I hope y'all are having a good day. Getting ready for this week to be on the downhill slide.
Tomorrow's Doc.
Yeah, we got Doc tomorrow. That'll be a lot of fun. I'm really excited about Doc being here. Yeah, that's going to be an amazing time. Uh-oh. What do you got going on over there? Getting assaulted by the microphone.
Yes.
Good day.
It was a good day.
It was a good day. I'm glad it was a good day.
So.
Yeah.
Hey,
Tracy.
Let's start with.
Oh, wait. Never mind. That's Bethany saying, hey. I'm trying. Never mind. I'll shut up. Yeah, why don't we start?
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, we got Kim Clement.
All right. Yeah, let's start out with Kim Clement.
However, there is an uncovering of great evil. And I will start from the top. I have shaken the Democrats and will shake the Republicans even more. But remember, when these tremors and when these tumultuous moments happen, Summer says, I will take it so that the fall can do its work in America. Princes of darkness and demonic powers are raging for these two extremely wicked terror organizations to be pierced with the sword of the Lord. Summer, take it. For thus says the Lord, I will prosper my people. And during the fall there shall be many that shall fall, and many that shall rise from the dust. The earth is standing prepared. I shall take it, for the summer shall bring forth much in the temperatures. Strange July, hypnotic November. And oh, Christmas, where winter shall say, and me, I will make them happy.
All right. So that was Kim Clement's, his Strange July. statement. But and granted, it's the last day of July, but it has been a truly strange July, and so many things have happened. But I also wanted to hear the other things, because I remember when I had heard that before, that there were a lot of other like dates, and not dates, but months put in there, and I thought he had named a lot more originally. But the only thing he called, the only month that he called out specifically was Hypnotic November and Strange July. And he talked about that it's going to be hot temperatures this summer, which I think pretty much everybody's been having kind of an awkward summer, and that it's been something kind of, a little bit extraordinary. It's been a very, very hot kind of summer for us in this July. So it's been a little strange. Hey, Mike, what's going on, man? And then he was talking about so that the fall can do its work. So it sounds like after this hot summer that we're going to be going through, that the fall will start to be more apparent. And then with the Hypnotic November, it really points to points to, well, obviously the election itself will be hypnotizing of some form, fashion, or another. And then, with that being said, let's see, Hypnotic November, Strange July, and God, he said some other stuff there. But I fully expect a lot of weird things to be coming up here real soon. I do truly believe that we are in this time frame now, so that way we can like that this is the time that Kim Clement was prophesying about. And yeah, he did mention Christmas, Chachi. And let's see, I didn't get the chance to write down exactly what he said about Christmas, because it was all pretty fast. They did a good edit on that. I think that was on the actual Kim Clement page that his daughter's running to this day, and did a good job on that. But yeah, so Christmas, it's going to be really interesting here moving forward. And yeah, I'm kind of out of stuff to say now. So yeah, thank you.
Are you ready?
Yeah. Are you? I don't know if you are. So let's see. There we go. All right, good deal. Thank you.
I gotta ask you about Kamala Harris. How you feel about her?
She's a piece of shit. I was in California. She lacked professional competence, and she worked on it by hiking up her hemline when she needed influence rather than researching. She's always tried to do the casting couch to get where she wants. Now, the problem is that'll get somebody to a certain level quickly, but you can't get past that level if you don't have competence and talent. So my thing about it is if I'm crude about it, in this city years ago, I used to represent a whole bunch of pimps and hoes, and I know a hoe when I see one. And I say this, I don't care, women, you do what you want to do if you want to have recreational sex, but when you do the casting couch or anything else for professional purposes to get paid or advance, you a hoe. And she's old hoe. And the problem is what is she supposed to do? Somebody, one of her sycophant slaves, comes up and unwraps her in a carpet naked at Putin's feet, and he says, oh, yeah, I'm Julius Caesar. He said, no, ho, I got better stuff here already. Plus, I don't want you anyway, you old woman. Get on up, you know. Or Xi Jinping, is he supposed to be impressed? She's doing word salad. Well, we're here today because China and the U.S. are here today, and that's why we have to agree on what we're doing here today. Like, fool, what did you just say? Did you say anything?
Thoughts?
So obviously the word's out. Everybody knows Kamala Ho, and everybody know. And that's not a good spot for her to be in. I mean, yeah, willing to overlook a lot of people's pasts, but she didn't acquire any skills that would be useful other than, yeah, I know that was hilarious, Mike. And let's see, it's kind of like now that she has no other skill sets, clearly public speaking is not one of them. And I know we got some things coming up about Kamala's public speaking engagements as of late, which haven't been going in her favor. She really doesn't have the ability to do the things. She is their sacrificial, lamb, I guess. Right. I don't know how much of a lamb she is,
I
but
was gonna say
she's their scapegoat.
that could be.
Okay, we'll go with scapegoat. Yeah, they're going to lay a lot on her shoulders uh, regarding all of the how terrible everything went. They're going to try to make her take all of the problems that have been Joe's, make it seem like I guarantee you they're going to lay a lot of that stuff on Kamala after she loses. She's hey Jenny, what's going on?
Watch out for the frogs, Jenny.
Kay has the hiccups over there, so it's causing all sorts of issues. But yeah, I mean, what do you do with her? I mean, really, that's the only thing. Well, think about how cold, blooded they are over there in that world. She got blasted for acting Southern now. And you know what? Like that was a trick she picked up from Hillary, and Hillary wasn't even that good at it. But
No.
she had the press, whereas Kamala doesn't really have a lot of the ability to terrify the crap out of everybody because she looks at you the wrong way. Like that's just not Kamala. That's not her skill set.
No.
And so she can't pull the same stuff off. It may have worked for Hillary because of how treacherous Hillary is, but or my understanding as to how treacherous she is. So yeah, I don't know. They're going to make her just take blame for everything. She's going to be their patsy.
Mhm.
Tracy says, I'm waiting for Kamala to bust out the hot sauce and pull a Hillary. The hot sauce. I'm not getting.
I don't know.
I'm not remembering that one, Tracy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You
don't
ready?
remember the hot sauce thing. Yeah, I'm ready.
Times movement so strong. The key is to challenge your employees without belittling them. You give them a purpose, create an environment where people want to show up for work. So when we learned that 92% of Kamala's staff quit, it raised red flags. How could she lead millions of Americans if she can't even lead 50? Gil Durham, who worked for Kamala when she was Attorney General of California, said the experience was unbearable. She was, quote, impossible to manage and took out all of her stress on her staff, usually women and lower level employees. Gil quit just 5 months into the job. Last straw, Kamala skipped out on a briefing and went berserk on a staff member to the point of tears because she was unprepared. And that tracks with what an unnamed White House staffer told the author, Chris Whipple, in his book, The Fight of His Life. They told him Kamala, quote, refused to do the kind of preparation that you need to do before going public on a hardcore policy matter. And then she became incensed and outraged when things wouldn't go the way she thought they were supposed to go. Even the interns weren't safe from Kamala's ire. Terry McKeeter, whose son spent months in Kamala's Attorney General's office, said she turned his kid's internship into a summer from hell. He says the interns were told to stand and say, "Good morning, General," when Kamala walked into the room. And they were told to never, ever address Kamala or even look her in the eyes. That privilege is for senior staff only. Kamala also had a filthy mouth and never met with the interns because staffers were too afraid to introduce them, probably for the best. Look, everybody's had a bad boss at one point or the other, but usually that boss doesn't become president. If 92% of a company's workforce quit, would you keep the CEO? So why would we make Kamala America's CEO? Shark Tank investor Kevin O'Leary is here. Kevin, when you see someone with staff turnover at 92%, what does that tell you about them?
Well, I have to ask myself, is that true? Because that's an extraordinary number. You're wiping out your entire staff. Obviously, a problem there. But this narrative going on with Kamala Harris now is very interesting. I look at it through the perspective of an investor. I'm going to give you some anecdotal data from this morning you might find interesting. When we syndicate debt for real estate projects, we don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. So I deal with a lot of investors, agnostic to politics, and some of them are very big contributors to the Democratic Party. I heard for the first time today, because we like to talk about politics, mostly on policy, and what he said to me was, some of us are having some buyer's remorse. We wish we'd run a process because we got so much press in the first 9 days of bringing somebody into the party and raised 200 million plus, which is like a balloon underwater. It just wasn't Biden, so they started contributing. But we gave up 5 weeks of fantastic social media in guessing who really should be the candidate. Now, I hadn't heard that before. It's not that many. I'd guess 20% or something like that. But so that's starting to crack a little bit. And there is precedence for what's going on here. I ask everybody to look north to Canada. When a young Justin Trudeau swept in, nobody cared about his executional skills or what he'd ever done or anything. They just thought he was the it guy. Look at the country now. It's wiped out. And because it turns out the guy had no executional skills. It would be important to leave aside the politics and ask, what has Kamala Harris actually done, actually achieved? Because if I was hiring her, and I'm not trying to be partisan, I would ask her, what was a goal? What did you achieve? Because any governor or any senator that would put into presidential viability would have a history, a track record of doing stuff.
What do you think she would say, Kevin, if you asked her in an interview straight up, Kamala, what's your biggest accomplishment? What would she say?
I don't know, because I don't know of one, but I can tell you this: in the next 2 weeks, the happy talk is going to have to stop, because someone's going to sit her down and say, let's talk inflation. Let's talk border. Let's talk policy on energy. Let's talk policy on foreign affairs. And if she doesn't deliver on that with the new vision towards the center, the guy that said, I wish we'd run a process, is going to be right. If she wants to win, she's got to go to the center, but she's got to have some ideas on how to run the country. You might hate Trump, but he has this track record of policy. You might hate him. I get it. But, you got to do something.
No tax on tips, border wall, tax reductions, stop the wars. I mean, you can nail it. I don't know what she wants. I just know she wants the power. Kevin O'Leary, you're right, though. That would have been the greatest American Idol audition this country's ever seen, and they just handed it to her, and now look what happened. Thank you so much.
Thoughts?
So everybody can see, and the fact that Fox News is actually talking about the fact that Kamala has no skills whatsoever. I mean, obviously the Republicans are going to see that, but I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of Democrats who watch that, or certainly people who are riding the fence. They're going to see that. And if you're riding the fence, you're going to be aware enough to really recognize that she doesn't have any policy issues that she can rely on. There's just nothing about her that says that they're even trying to really win this time. And that's what I'm really not understanding. And yeah, Jan, exactly. She is a dictator. And that's why she's had 97% staff turnover. 92, well, whatever. 92% staff turnover.
Close.
Yeah, right.
Don't get me wrong.
Well, I mean, yeah, because 92 is so much better than 97. It's probably, one person.
Trying to be accurate.
Yeah,
dear.
I got you. Got to be accurate about the whole thing. And so telling people that they can't look her in the eye, because they're not worthy enough. How has nobody spit in her face and just been like, what? I don't understand. I don't understand how maybe it's the soy milk. It's the soy milk.
You think it's the soy milk?
It's got to be the soy milk.
I think she's an idiot.
Yeah. Foreign leaders from other countries won't listen to her because she's a woman. Awesome. It's sad to say, but facts are facts. And then Kamala has skills on her knees. Exactly, Christian. She does. And thanks for joining us, brother. that's the extent of her skill set. And if you aren't somebody worth blowing, she's treating you like shit. It's really sad. It's really sad that like the party of democracy. I mean, I guess this is how democracies ran.
Mhm.
Is that how democracies work? Yeah, a dick taster. Oh, that was epic. A dick taster. Yep. Mm,
Oh my goodness.
that was amazing. That was amazing. I love that.
Goodness gracious. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Oh man.
I work for the Trump campaign, not the Harris campaign. But if I did work for the Harris campaign, I would be exceptionally nervous right now. Over the last week, I have been inundated with messages from individuals who support President Trump asking the question, can Trump beat Harris? In fact, many conservatives and Trump supporters across this country are in a complete panic. Largely, the reason why is because everywhere you turn, you are seeing Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is all over mainstream media. She has inundated social media, and of course, every single conversation that is had around politics or social issues, Kamala Harris has been placed front and center. Now, in my job, I am a numbers person, and I strictly look at numbers, such as polling numbers, as well as engagement numbers when it comes to social media. Before we get to that, let's talk about why Kamala Harris is in your face every single day. You cannot get away from her. That's important to make note that social media, mainstream media, Hollywood elites, they are trying to sell you on something that they are begging you to buy. Now, we can argue that making a push such as they have over the last week to sell you on something is suspicious in and of itself, because they know that without them pushing her, she has absolutely no chance whatsoever. Now let's talk just some numbers here that do not lie. Harris's target voter are the Gen Z voters and the millennials. Where we stand today, TikTok consists of roughly an estimated 60% of users are Gen Z, with an additional 20% estimated to be millennials, and of that total group, 53.4% to be females. Basically, TikTok is Kamala Harris's entire voter base. Now let's look at the numbers. Obviously, President Trump has way more followers than Kamala Harris does, and that could be contributed to a number of factors, arguably the fact that he has been on TikTok just a few months longer than Kamala Harris has. President Trump gained 9.2 million likes on his video of him announcing his presence on TikTok. And Kamala Harris running in at 3.6 million likes on her announcement video. Despite all of mainstream media, every single major elite Hollywood celebrity, and social media going wild over her, she didn't even come half to where President Trump came. Overall, President Trump has an engagement of 23.8 million likes on his content, while Kamala Harris is still setting below 7.2 million likes. Now we turn to polling. So the Wall Street Journal yesterday tried their antics of pretending that Kamala Harris has wiped out President Trump's lead in the polls. However, if you would have read beyond the headline, you would have seen where the headline contradicts the story as well as the results of the poll. President Trump still leads by an estimated 2 to 3 points over Kamala Harris. And nobody would ever believe that, because over the last week, everything we have seen has been Kamala Harris. You look at her post, you look at her engagement, you look at her media events, you look at her being invited and showcased at all of these celebrity events, yet she still cannot even reach the polling numbers that President Trump has had. It's absolutely hideous and laughable at the fact that her campaign continues to push the narrative that it's all hope is gone. President Trump will never be the president of the United States again. Kamala Harris is front and center. It's going to be a landslide win. Now, I know Democrats don't like to talk about numbers because when they do, it makes them look very bad. But when you do look at the numbers, it is very clear that President Trump still carries a tremendous lead over Harris when it comes to general polling, as well as when it comes to social media, Gen Z, and millennials. And so to all of President Trump supporters out there, please note, just because Kamala Harris is being shoved in your face and down your throat, not literally, every single day, President Trump still carries a tremendous lead over her, despite the many millions of dollars that have been poured into her campaign in the last week. We still lead by leaps and bounds. So to all of the Trump supporters out there, the patriots, and any American who loves this country, please note that this win is not going to happen easy. Just because we still carry a tremendous advantage, it's going to be a very tight race. It's going to take every single one of us to show up at the polls on November 5th. So between now and November 5th, it is very important to remember that Kamala Harris is going to be shoved in your face every single day. The media is going to tell you that she is winning by leaps and bounds. Social media is going to be infiltrated with her supporters, and with her, the algorithm is going to be flowing in her favor every single day. But don't be discouraged. As a reminder, in 2020, Joe Biden had a 7-point lead over President Trump, according to the polls, in July of 2020. Much love. God bless. Stay focused. Let's win this.
Thoughts?
So, like, the comments were really touching on what the reality of the situation is, and in addition to what Preston was talking about. And Preston, I mean, obviously he's a real smart dude, and there's a reason why he's at where he's at. But
Yeah, because I mean, we know Trump hires dumbasses, you know.
whatever. So, he's letting us know that they're going to try their usual MK Ultra kind of tactics, where they're going to flood your feed with everything Kamala, pro Kamala this, pro Kamala that. They'll do as much paying of people like Harry Sisson out there. They have all that money. We know that there's tons of money out there that is just turns up missing all of the time for some strange reason. Well, this is one of the places where I'm pretty sure it goes to. Christian says, let's see, much of what we see about Kamala is manufactured and meant as propaganda to catch your eye. More awake now. Exactly. There are more people that who are awake now. And then based off of what we're seeing with them running with Kamala, it seems to me that's, if you were still fighting for your existence, that you wouldn't let Kamala come about. Like, you would still be trying to come up with somebody else. Like, Beto would have a chance. Like, there's plenty of other people. And I just thought about him today. I was kind of wondering if he might be one of her.
Newsom would get more votes than she will.
But he brings Texas, and they're trying to turn Texas blue.
He does not bring Texas.
Just ask him, he'll tell you. And they have a very similar skill set, don't they?
Well, yeah, he's good on his knees too.
Well, there you go. They just if you can't Joe him, blow him.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway, they're gonna try their shenanigans. They're gonna try to flood your feeds, everything, the news, any kind of media that they can pay people to put stuff out there. They are going to pay people. And this is a good opportunity for us to figure out who the word hookers are, basically, because that's all they are. Even Harry Sissons admitted the fact that, he doesn't necessarily believe any of it, but he's paid to, and it pays well. So he's going to do it. It's pretty sad. Yeah. Christian says, if Trump is fighting against the beast, then you're damn skippy. We've got assets in place to undo everything they throw at us. And I believe that too, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you ready for this?
Yes, I think. Kamala is having a rally in Pennsylvania today. Well, that's nice.
Y'all ready for this?
You see those tens of people?
The crowd was huge. It was filled with tens of people. That was, yeah. I mean, they should have had plenty of seats for everybody at least. Oh, what? Wow.
Like, nobody, it was not standing room only.
Yeah. Hey, Fire and 8. Thanks for joining. And yeah, I agree. They were probably, how many of those people were paid actors as well?
Yeah. Pathetic. Exactly.
It is. And then they're going to try to tell us that she's going to, get more votes than Biden did. Yeah,
Okay.
that is pretty sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is just to wake people up.
Hmm.
God, I hope so. Dems tried pulling that crap on Trump a bunch.
Yeah.
They did. Is anyone surprised the former prostitute are paying warm bodies to show up?
No.
What else? What else do they do with the money?
You ready?
Yeah, I guess. I have no idea.
It is obvious at this point that the DNC propaganda machine knows that Kamala Harris's record on the border is absolutely going to crush her in regards to voters. And that's exactly why they're trying to erase it. Very similar to how she tried to hide and erase evidence when she was a prosecutor to incarcerate innocent men. So if you guys want a corrupt prosecutor in the White House, vote for Kamala Harris. But if you actually want to fix the issues, you guys know exactly who to vote for. As a mother, and I'm just going to put this out there, I think it's incredibly disturbing that she's done nothing, hasn't even accepted responsibility or even tried to fix the issue of the 85,000 migrant children that have come here and somehow gotten lost in the government's custody. Okay, A, that's super creepy. B, the most targeted and trafficked demographic are Hispanic women and children. And yet she's running on this platform of being a minority woman, yet has done nothing to help minority women that are being literally prosecuted, trafficked, raped, tortured because of an open border. It's gross.
Thoughts?
So there's a reason why they're trying to scrub everything about Kamala being the borders are. And then there was that clip yesterday with Peter Ducey, asking the press secretary about it. So that's on the permanent
Jean-Claude
record.
Van Damme?
Yeah. So that's on the permanent record now, and that's great. Let's see. So, and that's one of the reasons why they want to get rid of her record on the border, because of the human trafficking that's occurring because of that very system that they have set up. It's a nasty thing that's happening. But I do believe that this is going to be some of the things that as people continue to wake up, it will become very real in terms of what be very real in terms of like the problems that human trafficking is, but like how pervasive it is within the government, and the fact that it would require so much coordination. Chops says over there on Pilled, what's up? Hey Chops, how you doing? I could probably draw a bigger crowd of I invited only my internet haters.
I know.
If I invited only my internet haters, that's a possibility too. And that's going to be some interesting things here coming up. Is at some point in time, people are going to say how big of a crowd they can bring versus Kamala.
I know.
I think that those memes are going to start coming out.
It's sad.
It's amusing.
Yeah. Okay. We'll go with amusing.
It is amusing. She doesn't bring anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Her milkshake no longer brings all the boys to the yard.
What?
Jenny says, Bill, I saw a video this morning that people were leaving her rally last night when she started to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't we have that?
We do.
Yeah, we do have something about that. So yeah, looking forward to getting that one too.
You ready?
Yeah.
In the words of Madam VP herself, to all the supporters who think that the next 4 years are going to be different, let's be clear, this is her presidency. So if we're wondering what the next 4 years is going to look like under Kamala Harris, this is it. We know that Joe has not been Joe in about 8 years or so. This is it. More of the same. This is her economy. That's her borders. These are her horrible policies. Those are her wars. This is it. This is it. This is what her presidency will look like. We are in it. This 4 years of uncertainty, 4 years of just what the hell is this? This is it. More of the same. Only this time they won't have Joe to blame it on, right? Because everyone wants to blame it on him. Meanwhile, they knew that, he hadn't been the same since even before he got with Barry, right? So this is it. So what you're expecting, you think there's going to be some sudden surprise? No, this is it. This is her thing. These are her policies. This is her economy. This is it. That's her health care. This is her border problems. This is it. This is it. Like, we are not going to get anything different. It's not going to get better. This is it. This is her presidency. More of the same for the next 4 years. The choice is always yours. But please don't, let's be clear. In the words of, Madam VP herself, this is hers. These are her policies. This is her. It's all her. More of the same. Can your children, and this is for my Black and brown people, can your sons survive another 4 years with her? Right? Your son's future, your daughter's future. This is it. It is not going to, no different from this. As a matter of fact, who knows, maybe worse. But this is it. No surprises. This is what her presidency will look like, because this is her presidency. Let's be clear.
Thoughts?
So I agree with her that we'll see more of the same if Kamala were to be elected, but I think it would be a lot worse. I think it would be a lot worse because the rest of the countries in the world would take us so much less seriously.
Mhm.
Like we truly can't afford, because China and Russia at that point in time would know that they can do whatever they want, and
Mhm.
there's nobody at the helm. Or close enough to the helm to be able to stop the crashing into the iceberg, and that they won't be able to unite even their own countries, let alone unite all of NATO to fend off anything that's going on. It would be pure pandemonium. And so no, we can't accept it, because one, we know that the last election was stolen, and that if they somehow get the election through this time, I do believe that I just don't think people would accept it this time.
No.
I know that I would not be encouraging anybody to keep their mouth shut about that.
No.
But with that being said, it's not really Kamala, and she herself in the videos said the right person. It's Barry, and I truly believe
Mhm.
that's I guess that's the best thing is that that would make the most amount of sense. Would be is that she basically said, "I'll just give me the earpiece, and then I'm actually smart enough to say the shit that you're saying." Not that she's actually smart enough to understand the stuff that he's saying, but she's at least smart enough to repeat it in the earpiece, while President Obama sits around in the basement in some sweatpants with a microphone, telling people what to do or say.
I don't know though. She's
What? She can at least
She's
repeat
just
what he
not-
says. She's smarter than Joe.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, I didn't say a lot.
Today is tomorrow, and tomorrow is today.
Already sounds better than Joe.
Okay. Goodness gracious. Are you ready?
Yeah.
When you're chosen, you'll have an assignment. Your assignment will be to a person or to a group of people. See, if your name was Moses, you was called to the people of Israel. If your name was Aaron, you was called to Moses. Your purpose is to advance the kingdom of God. Your gift is a point of access to your purpose. Your gift is like a key that unlocks the door to your assignment. In other words, to a person or to a group of people. Well, how do you know who that is? Whose pain do you feel? Whose tears affect you? Whose problems are you willing to solve? Your assignment will be geographical. You won't be called to everybody. You'll be called to somebody. You'll be called to a specific group of people. The very thing you battle in life and the very thing you overcame will be an indication of who you're called to.
Thank you, Jim.
Thoughts? Did you really say sorry?
I did say sorry because I messed up Stevens. I misgendered Steven.
Wow.
I know. I'm having a day. Thank God it's like the top of the hill. We're on our way down after this one.
Mm.
Anyways, what's his name? Kate Hope asks, who is this guy?
Justin Thomas
Justin Thomas. Is that his handle over there
Yeah.
on? Okay.
on TikTok.
On TikTok. So yeah, exactly. He is angered, Stephen, without a doubt. He's like telling us like real stuff right there. And it is the things that we've overcome are going to be the things that, lead us as we move forward. And so as we overcome our, sinful natures, or as we confront our sinful nature, that's how we're going to be able to help other people out. And, if you were an angry person for per se, or, just to say, you can help people get through that anger and help them find what it is they're looking for that way. Because, when you're angry, you usually are angry because, at least from my understanding, is that you see a different way, but because of the way you say the things that you say, people are less likely to listen to you. So therefore, things keep on going in a way that you wouldn't like to see, even though you already know that if people would just listen to you, that things would be a little bit better. But that is up to you as the person who's angry. I understand this, on how to say it, and it's up to you, the speaker, to be able to say it in a manner that people actually want to listen to you, kind of thing. And so that's how you can flip what was the thing that was separating you from that love that you need to feel, from God. This is how we can help other people, because the world is filled with, people who are going through similar things, just like you and I, people who are going through things now that you personally have already overcame. And so therefore it's imperative, it's basically, it's that opportunity to, what would you say, what would you have said to you when you were in that situation? And that's how we can help shepherd people back to the light. And I think that that's how we can certainly help people. So really take stock in the things that you've had to overcome, and recognize that that's a tremendous resource for people that are going through something even remotely similar to what you had to go through. And I think that that's going to be truly helpful, moving forward in the future, as we come back closer to God, as we get to a place where we can work on the problems, as opposed to just trying to put the fires out from all the problems that have been created unnecessarily by those who deem themselves to be, our leaders. So yeah, thank you, Ange.
Not our leaders, our overlords.
Yeah, the dictators.
Are you ready?
Yeah, Christian, that was epic.
Here we go.
All right.
500,000 kids. This is the toll of her leadership. 500,000 kids have been trafficked by the cartels because of her policies, and she calls us disloyal. Hundreds of thousands of our citizens are dead from fentanyl overdoses because of her policies. Hardworking Americans cannot afford groceries because of her policies. And my question to the American people is, do you want a president who is disloyal to this country, or do you want somebody who is willing to take a bullet for it? I think we want the guy who is willing to take a bullet for it.
You ready? Or thoughts, I mean?
I mean, yeah, I guess I'm ready if you are.
Ah.
Hey, Carol, thanks for joining. Let's see. It's, I mean, again, it's kind of a follow up to the failed border policies and the human trafficking. And I think that that's something that's going to truly be hammered on. And I think that that's going to be happening because of a kind of a predictive programming thing. In other words, they're going to keep talking about the human trafficking in order to release the information about the extent and what human trafficking actually means. So I believe that that's really, if you look at it, with the border crisis the way it was, which was absolutely unnecessary for it to happen the way it did, I do believe that it will give us that. It's kind of like a primer, before you put on the paint. We're being primed so that way they can, show us the real picture. And yeah, I have a feeling we're going to hear about a lot of that during this campaign.
A lot.
Well, certainly more than we've ever heard about it. But so many people are becoming aware to the very true nature of human trafficking, and people are still becoming aware of how deep it goes into our own government.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How about some Tucker?
Yes.
Okay.
Do like some Tucker.
I've known Biden, watched Biden, been around Biden a lot for over 30 years. I remember my reaction in 2019 when he decided to run once again for president for the fourth time, I think. I thought, that's not the guy I know. I mean, he's just completely different. And then his sister told a friend of mine, actually, we're very upset because he's in cognitive decline. He's got some neurological illness and we don't want him to run for president. So I immediately said that on Fox News.
So you reported that at the time?
Absolutely. Yeah. And then I showed the tape, like, look at this guy, and was attacked, of course, and ignored. So that was 5 years ago. I wasn't shocked by his performance at the debate, but then other journalists were. They seemed to be, were they pretending or like what? I don't understand how someone who did an interview with him like 2 years ago wouldn't have been aware that there was something wrong.
Well, I think it's an opportunity to provide this broader data set so there can be this independent review by the public.
What would that data look like?
Well, let's look at what the transcripts show. Do they show someone who is, very consistent, very focused, very deliberate in their answering of questions? Or does it show someone who's maybe struggling to stay on track or is lacking
Do we have the
focus?
transcripts?
Well, media outlets who've conducted interviews with the president should have those transcripts. You could release the transcript. And I say that as someone who released a transcript of my interview with President Trump back in 2020.
Thoughts?
The part that's sticking out to me on this one is the fact that Tucker is surprised by the fact that there's people in the media that couldn't see Biden's cognitive decline, and like people that interviewed him. And so I think about that, and I think the things that we went through with family members who have had cognitive decline in the past, and we recognized that other family members had a very difficult time accepting that. Because they couldn't accept it. It was too difficult for them to see it. And then I think about other people that I know, some related to, some not, that still, are towing the party line. And I recognize that they're not dumb people by any means. They're actually, that they can be very brilliant people. But for some reason, they can't see the things like Joe's cognitive decline, the fact that Joe wasn't even ready to be, president. And this isn't even trying to get into the fact that Joe's face has changed so many times. And how does he keep growing and losing a butt chin? But despite that, it's like now they're going to toe the party line with Kamala because they have just they're dyed in the wool at this point in time. They can't see anything different. They don't know what's going on. And it's difficult to see how people that you once admired because of their intelligence or wisdom or whatever, and that they, keep on down the path that they were on. And so it becomes a big surprise as to how that can happen. And really, in the end, I think it boils down to their ego. They are in the place where they're at, i.e., they're, they've not only are they in the press, but they've gotten to the point where they're interviewing the president of the United States. I'm assuming that would be a highlight. Exactly, Chachi, pride kills. I'm assuming that as a reporter, being able to interview the president of the United States would be something that you would put in like your bullet points in your resume to say, look how great and awesome I am. And it's not going to work out well in the future now that I think about it for them. So they have to believe that they're doing the right thing, and they have to believe that maybe they're going to make excuses in their head. Maybe he's got a lot of stuff going on in his mind. Maybe this, maybe that. And that's where it happens, because really, just like Chachi said, it's pride. Because if they had to take the information that was being presented to them by all of those crazy conspiracy theorists, then that would mean that they're wrong. But they went to college and they got all the checks in the box, and they're the one that have made it to interview the president of the United States. So therefore, how could they be wrong? Everybody else is right. It's kind of sad to see, but I guess they're just going to have to see it the hard way.
Oh, I agree.
Try
agree.
Try every other way, but
Yeah.
if they didn't, whatever.
You ready?
Yes, Christian.
Why I'm not worried about a Kamala presidency. Actively, Trump is running against Donald Trump and not Harris at all. I'll explain why. Harris has to walk back on her border crisis along with all of the radical policies she's openly spoke of for 4 years. With Trump, we know what we're getting: peace, prosperity, and economic stability. If Trump sticks with policy while hammering on the fact that Kamala aided in the cover-up for 3.5 years regarding Biden's inability to govern our country, let alone run for office for another full 4-year term, simply abetting Biden is as big enough a turnoff to moderate Democrats and independents alike. This will become more evidence the closer we get to November.
About Santino.
I mean, he's right. Trump is running against Trump. And that's why they're trying to change the narrative, trying to change the Overton window to she's a prosecutor and he's a convict. It's a story, it's a narrative, and people are some people buy it, but it's so few people that are buying it. Even fewer people are buying it now than they bought the whole Joe Biden crap. And so it's like, yeah, Trump is running against, himself. But the thing is I don't think he's really running against anybody. I think, I mean, obviously he is, but he's just trying to get the information out in terms of the things that he wants to get done. And that's what people need to hear, is a vision for the future, because we've been lacking in a vision that's worth a crap for a very long time. And I know that some of the points that he makes on, what his vision is, they're a little light, but I also think that if he was to start talking about getting rid of the Fed and, going to the things that we know that are coming down the road, I think that he would, probably lose some people that way, even though so many people want rid of the Fed. I think that a lot of people would actually support it, except for the Fed people.
I don't want the Fed.
Oh, yeah, I can't think of too many people who do.
I know.
It's been
Them
good
and
for
the Department of Education.
it's been very, very good for a very long time for very few people.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. You ready?
Yeah.
Harry Sisson is now trying to convince everyone that 78 years old is too old to become president. And I'll be honest with you, if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't have believed it. But here's his tweet from yesterday. Donald Trump is too old to be president. He's 78. I don't think he'll be able to serve effectively for 4 years. I'm sure MAGA would agree with this assessment, right? And here's the thing, Harry. There might have been a lot of people who would be inclined to agree with you. However, you spent the last 2 years convincing us that 81 wasn't too old. And even though that 81-year-old was showing obvious symptoms of mental decline, that it was perfectly fine for him to become president. That it was perfectly fine that that man was going to be 85 years old when he got out of office. So yeah, we might have agreed with you that 78 was too old. But good job, Harry. You managed to convince us that 81 wasn't too old, so neither is 78.
Thought Santino, because I agree with Jenny.
I'm actually trying to bring up a couple of things here. One, Harry didn't have a problem with the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth. She died at 96, and she was holding on as long as she could because she couldn't trust her son. I mean, that's kind of...
Do you blame her?
Well, no, not at all. Not at all. And then even then, I'm hoping that a lot of people know who George Burns is, an old actor, used to play in movies back in the 80s all the time. But that man was sharp as a tack, and he passed when he was what?
I thought he
100
was
years
over
old.
100.
He was 100. George Burns was 100. But man, that guy was sharp. He had a sharp wit.
Yes.
And that is, so it has absolutely nothing to do with age. And what we see out of President Trump is that he's extremely sharp. He's not lacking in, cognitive anything whatsoever. And so I think that for them to be barking up this tree, it's actually going to be beneficial. Yeah, keep up bringing age. I think that that's a great idea, because it's going to, because the people who understand what's really going on will bring that conversation to mental acuity. And Joe Biden hasn't had mental acuity even before he became president. He was losing it when they were trying to, tell us that Rona was the reason why he wasn't getting anywhere. Yeah, he was sharp.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of people here tonight know who George Burns is.
Yeah, and you know what? It was he was a good comedian. I don't think he ever cussed. Was he one of the ones that didn't cuss? I don't remember. But he also was an actor in a time when you didn't cuss.
I don't know.
He may have been.
I don't remember.
I know he played God a couple of times.
I know. I know.
But anyways, I think that those are the things that we need to steer those conversations. He inhaled cigars, man.
Ooh.
Turn you green. That's dude's hard as woodpecker lips.
I know.
Sit there and inhale cigars, man.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
I got Kelly.
All right. Love some Kelly.
All right. I don't know who needs to hear this right now, but I know that there is somebody watching and you feel like God is mad at you. You feel like you have got to the point where you have messed up too many times. You want to pray. You want to spend time with him. You know that you're far from him, but the devil has been whispering in your ear. God doesn't want to spend time with you. Look at what you've done. You think God is proud of you? Look, if that's you today, I have some really good news for you. God's not mad at you. In fact, he loves you and he wants to spend time with you more than you want to spend time with him. Yeah, Kelly, but you don't know what I've done. You don't know what I've said. You know what? You're right. I don't. But I know what Jesus did. And on the cross, he paid for everything for you. He paid for all your sins. The ones you committed yesterday, the ones you committed 5 years ago, the ones you're going to commit in a minute, and even the ones you're going to commit next year. Jesus already paid for it. Yeah, Kelly, but I just keep disappointing God. I make commitments to spend time with him, but I don't follow through. Look, if that's you today and you feel like you are constantly disappointing God, let me remind you of something today. I mean, let's think about this logically. To disappoint God would mean that you missed an appointment with him. Doesn't God know the beginning from the end? He knows everything, meaning he knew that you weren't going to show up to spend time with him today. What that means is you didn't disappoint him because he knew you weren't going to make it today. And he is not mad at you at all. Does he want to spend time with you? Yes, he does. But is he angry with you when you don't? No, he's not. You see, my Bible says there is no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. God's not mad at you. He's not the accuser. The devil is. The shame and the guilt that you feel from missing your time with God did not come from God. Look, yes, God wants to spend time with you, but his grace is so big and so good. Even when you don't show up, he still loves you just the same. The truth is, none of us are in right standing with God. That's why Jesus, who knew no sin, became sin so that we who knew no righteousness, which means having no right standing with God, we get to become the righteousness of Jesus, meaning we get to be in right standing with God because Jesus is in right standing with God. So let me encourage you today. I don't care how far from him you feel. You could be 1,000,000 miles away today, but the truth is you're only one step back. So if that's you today, spend some time with your Father. Let him know you're not going to believe the lie anymore, that he's mad at you, that he's disappointed in you, or that he doesn't want to spend time with you. Those are lies of the devil. You have a good Father, and he has good gifts for his children. Whatever battle, storm, or desert season you find yourself in right now, he wants to go through it with you and fight your battle for you. You really can just rest in him today. The devil would just love it if he could keep whispering lies to you and it stops you from spending time with God, because he knows he's already been defeated. And the only thing he can really do to you is tell you lies and hope that you believe it. You see, he knows he's been defeated. He just hopes you never figure it out. But you know what? You just did. and think about that for a minute.
Thoughts, Santino?
So
I have to say that shirt was so distracting. And I don't normally, but that shirt was too much for my little brain today.
So it gets brought up a lot about people feeling like they've sinned too much or something like that.
Right.
And I can say that I've had that thought cross my mind on more than one occasion. It's like I won't ever be forgiven because I've sinned so much and for so many years, and I just felt like I was, not worthy. And then you hear the only unforgivable sin is denying the Holy Spirit. And so then, you hear things like Kelly's talking about, to deny the Holy Spirit means that you know better and that you go ahead and do it your way anyways. And that Pharaoh, he did it to himself 9 times. And then finally God hardened his heart because it was like, no, you weren't listening. But the thing is as long as you keep trying, and this is a recurring theme that seems to be forgotten about in the Bible, is as long as you truly repent and as long as you truly come back and you try with your whole heart, and it may not feel like you have your whole heart to give, but as long as you're given as much heart as you have to return to God and to accept the gift of Jesus's sacrifice, then I do believe that everybody is truly savable, but that repentance needs to be real. That repentance needs to be authentic, and it's something that you have to work toward because you recognize, okay, each one of those times that you made that decision to not listen to what your gut feelings were that told you to do it the right way, and you denied it all those times, it took that long to get there. It's kind of like when we get overweight. It didn't happen overnight, so you're not going to lose all of your weight overnight. It's the exact same principle. So many of these things recur over and over again. The laws, the very fabric of everything says that this is the case. And so we can't ever give up. No matter how dark or bad things seem, you just have to make sure that you keep trying. And if you fall down, you get up, you dust yourself off, and you keep trying to get that connection that that you should be able to have. And we're all headed in that direction. And as more and more people in this world, really, but we'll just keep it to within this nation, come back to God, as this revival is happening, it makes it easier for everybody else, because then there's the strength of all those additional people that are coming back to God. And so it will make him listen even more. And so don't ever give up, especially if you're on that path to find God on that narrow path. You can get there. It's just a matter of keeping that faith, no matter how dark or bleak it can look.
Are you ready?
Yes.
You're going to like this one.
You say that.
Here are 10 powerful psychological truths. 1. Silence is more powerful than trying to prove a point. 2. When trust is broken, sorry means nothing. 3. Control your actions. Learn to react less. 4. When you are honest, you lose people who don't deserve you. 5. One beautiful heart is worth more than 1,000 beautiful faces. 6. Small circle, private life, clear mind, happy heart. 7. Never go back to somebody who you left. 8. Stop overthinking. You can't control everything. Just let it be. 9. If somebody is stupid enough to walk away from you, be smart enough to let them go. 10. True friends are very rare. If you have one, you're very lucky.
I know I'm super lucky.
Well, we're all lucky. I do like Alan Watts. I know that he's kind of Buddhism, Zen kind of teachings, but I do believe that there is wisdom, especially if it crosses over and it correlates and lines up with what's said in the Bible. It may be said in a different way, but I do believe that it is a way that you can learn. And I do believe that some of these other religions are certainly a pathway to the Bible as the way to true faith, that it is the word of God, and that some of these other religions are out there are, for me personally, I feel that they may be, they can be enlightening, but I do believe that they're off in a lot of spaces. But where it all lines up, I think that that's where true wisdom is. Now, in terms of what he was talking about, I don't see anything wrong with what he was saying, because all of the quick list of 10 different, uh, things in life, I guess, really what you could say that are truly important. A beautiful heart is worth more than 1,000 beautiful faces. 100% true. And I think a beautiful heart is what we are all truly looking for at this point in time. And I think that it's Trump's beautiful heart when it's pointed at this nation that's important to us. Um, that is more important to all of us because we can see the truth in what he says and the fact that he truly believes the things that he says. It's that authenticity, and I think that these are the things that help us, in terms of our discernment of who we like and don't like. That they are simple truths that can help us through life, and we need to listen to them and give them the proper heed.
I agree. And you know what? Sometimes you just have to know that regardless of which pick, insert, a true friend.
Mhm.
And I say this about you all the time. You are my best friend. And, I'm glad that you're my best friend. But I'm also blessed because I have other amazing friends, people who are in this chat right now that mean the world to me. And you know what? You gotta count your blessings for that because not everybody is that lucky.
No, not everybody is that lucky.
So
But I do see a light where I think that everybody will be very happy as we continue to move forward.
Yeah.
I think that people will be able to find their tribes, and that it's going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
Especially as we keep driving closer and closer to God.
Yeah. And I've decided that there's a reason why Harry likes Kamala. Look, they have the same mouth. You ready?
Yeah. I wasn't
We
ready
don't
for
normally
that.
see rallies like that with 10,000 plus people and that kind of energy until like a month before the election.
Bro, it was a free Megan Thee Stallion concert. Like, Harry showed this. That was when Megan Thee Stallion was performing. And every one of those people got into that arena for free. Tickets to her concerts are normally between like $200 and $1,500. So yeah, they were pretty hyped. But let's take a look at that energy when Kamala started talking. Yeah, they were leaving. About 50% of that crowd left after Megan Thee Stallion was done. I gave some advice earlier to the Harris campaign, and let me do it again. Schedule like a nobody act before you talk, and then say Megan Thee Stallion is going to perform after you talk. But let everyone know you're not going to let anyone in after it starts. This way, the arena will stay full, and you'll look like people actually give a fuck about you being president. But I can see why you don't worry about that. I mean, Harry's going to lie for you anyway.
Thoughts?
I wish he wouldn't have given him the secret to make it look like people actually care about Kamala. Whatever. But
Do you think they're really going to listen to him? No.
well, I wouldn't be surprised if they changed their tactics. If they were smart enough, they would have, opposition research looking at people that have, a good brain. So that
They
way.
think they're smarter than everybody, though, babe.
Yeah, I know. But point being is that they tried to do one of their usual, cabal trickery kind of games, and they're not smart enough to make it, to do it right. They're not able to create that steel as good as they'd like to think they can. And so people were leaving because honestly, nobody cares. Honestly, I don't know why anybody cares about Megan Thee Stallion's music, but that's not that's not for me to determine. You know, I'm no music major, so I guess I don't have a right to say what's music and what's not. But I know when I hear Shoe in the Dryer music, I know that it just doesn't make sense to me. And so I don't care. I mean, I loved me some Tupac back in the day and NWA and all that other stuff, but this is not, no, no,
Just no.
no.
Okay.
And yeah, no.
So we've talked a lot about crooks
Mm.
and what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Watch this.
Let's get straight to the point. Oh, Fox News. Who's your cameraman? There's no way nobody saw that from Overwatch positions on the roofs behind where those cameras were set up. Are you kidding me? Why did it look like the cameraman was tracing him across the rooftop and not focusing on Donald Trump, but keeping Trump in frame? Broadcasters were around this area, correct? How come they didn't see it, but they did?
Thoughts?
I don't know. What can we say? There's absolutely everything about the assassination attempt stinks. Just about everything. And we had a good conversation. We had a good conversation earlier today with Bethany, and that was really nice. And it was about, you know, we've had a considerable amount of time now. We're going on 15 days now, something like that. And it's like, what are your real thoughts about it? And so we were talking about this, and it's like, it's still extremely confusing in terms of what the real deal is, because we don't know anything about the blob that was on top of the water tower. And then we know that Crooks was just a patsy. And then, but there was a sniper team that would have been right behind them that would have seen the position, but they disappeared all of a sudden. And yeah, Chachi, I think you're right. I think these, maybe all these things were meant to be exposed. 18 days. My God.
18 days.
Wow. Okay. 18 days. Thank you, Tracy. So it's like, it's still confusing. But the thing that I do recognize is that it's like the way Trump's head moved. That's the thing that tells me that there was some divine providence. Is just, you know, he was facing this way. He turned his head. He turned his head again, and then he turned his head, and then it went by his ear. And so it's just. There's so much, and I don't know if we're going to be able to get the information that we need. Like how many different bullets? They said they found 8 bullets or something like that. What was the caliber of each one of them? What was the, you know, all of those questions that we should be able to know about this if they were forthcoming and honest about what they were telling us about.
But this is not going to be like JFK long time trying to get all the information out. We're not there anymore because of the internet, because of cell phone cameras, because
Of all of the wonderful things Trump does.
They cannot. They can't hide it the way they used to be able to hide things.
Right. No, I agree with you. No, they cannot hide things the way they used to. And because more people are aware, because more people are asking the questions, because more people are digging, and just with the sheer diversity of people who have woken up now, everybody has a different interest. Everybody has a different ability to research or whatever. And so now we have these researchers coming out of the woodworks from all over the place, and they're putting this information out there. So it's giving them fewer places to hide the kind of crap that they were hiding behind before. Like they can't hide behind the disinformation as well as they could. Long story short. So
You ready?
yeah.
I think you'll like this one.
Okay.
Watch this video before it's removed from the internet.
Way before the King James, the Geneva Bible was out. King James banned the Geneva Bible. And you say, wait a minute, if the Geneva Bible is such a good book, why was it banned? If you can figure out anything that might cause a king not to want to have this out, put on the whole armor of God, that you may abide to stand against the assaults of the devil. For we wrestle not only against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers. Sounds pretty familiar so far, right? And against worldly governors who are the princes of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness which are in the high places. In fact, if you read the instructions, you find out that they left out a lot of things. The true meaning of baptism, the true meaning of what the church is. And the reason why they did it is they wanted to be able to control people. They wanted to say that the government is divinely empowered and that the church, you got to listen to, and of course, he controlled the church. 1910 talks about some of the real purposes of the King James Version, and it's not what you were taught in school. About 65,000 plus changes in the King James versions to some of the New Age versions. There's 20,000 changes from the Geneva to the King James. So you kind of get the idea that they're trying to change everything around so it means something totally different. The Rothschilds, their goal was to control the world through controlling money. Care who the government is, let me control the money and I will control the country. The king, when America was started effectively corporations of trust. Who owned America to start with, or the part that was under English rule? The king. It was his own personal property. And he could license you to be able to get minerals and do this and do that as long as you paid your fair share. But the king literally owned the whole country, other than what France owned and Spain and those kind of things. The real reason for the Revolutionary War. Very interesting, not what you were taught in school. Here's a few quotes from William Manly German in a speech to the House of Commons, December 1913. The Rothschilds Bank caused a bill to be introduced in the English Parliament, which provided that no colony of England could issue its own money. Thus, they had to use English money. The colonies were compelled to discard their money and mortgage themselves to the Rothschilds Bank of England to get money. Then, for the first time in the history of the United States, money began to be based on debt. Benjamin Franklin stated that in 1 year from that date, the streets of the colonies were filled with the unemployed. Franklin later claimed this was the real cause of the War of Independence. This is according to Benjamin Franklin. The colonies would gladly have borne the little tax on tea and other matters had it not been that England and the Rothschilds Bank took away from the colonies their money, which created unemployment, dissatisfaction, and debt. We heard this nasty rumor that we won the Revolutionary War. Ain't true. We did not win it. The last battle that was fought, Cornwallis surrendered the battle, not the war. Proof? About 1 year ago, this document, it's called the Definitive Treaty of Peace between Great Britain and the United States, signed at Paris, 3 September 1783. It had never been in this country before that. This is what really, really, really happened. It having pleased the divine providence to dispose the hearts of the most serene and most potent prince. This is somebody that lost a battle is a most potent prince? I don't think so. George III, by the grace of God, listen to this. Here's his titles. King of Great Britain. France. Who did we borrow the money from that helped us win the war? We thought France. Now we owe that money to the King of England? Interesting. Ireland, Arch-Treasurer and Prince-Elector of the Holy Roman Empire. Treasurer of the Catholic Church. Find out the parties of the treaty is this guy named John Adams, Esquire. Does anybody know where you go get an Esquire title? England. I don't think we gave them out. Benjamin Franklin, Esquire. John Jay, Esquire. These were all people who were titled nobility in England, who were negotiating this treaty. And do you know what the treaty really said?
The treaty really said it's agreed that everything that England and the people of England and the king and whoever else owned and any obligations that existed before this treaty are still law. The king still owns it. The king still owed all the money. Nothing changed except we could govern ourselves theoretically as long as we paid the rent. Where did that show up in the Constitution? This document actually required us to form a constitution, so we did. And so where did it show up in the Constitution? Here's a couple places. Section 10. States shall pass no law impairing the obligation of contracts. Oh, so we still owe the money, so the land's still the king's. That's right in the Constitution. It's not that one by you. Or grant any title of nobility, which means the king is still the one that puts all the esquires. You read in the Constitution, it says the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. No, it doesn't. It says the Constitution and treaties are the supreme law of the land. The thing that people don't know is what treaties. And the answer to that one is in a law case called Hamilton versus Eaton, 1796. And guess what it said was the most supreme law of the land? The definitive treaty. There's a second constitution. Oh, guess what? You're not a part of it. Little court rulings like, oh, the Second Amendment doesn't apply to you. It's right. You know why? You're not a party to the contract, nor were any people parties to.
Thoughts?
So I know that we've gone over this, and I know that there's the whole sovereign citizen. I know it's changed names so many times recently, but basically saying that that there's still some kind of a treaty where England still owns the United States, and I don't know how much I actually believe that. I think that there's, it's definitely within the realm of possibility based off of all the other crap that I've heard. It wouldn't surprise me if that turned out to be true.
You mean they're lies?
Well, yeah, there's lots of lies out there.
Or fibs. We'll go with fibs. That
Fibs.
sounds nicer.
But I don't like. John Adams was an esquire before the country separated, and the term esquire isn't a protected term here in the United States. Like, you can put esquire on your, go get some, what is it? Some
Stationary.
That's it. Yeah, go get you some stationery, and you can put esquire on there, and nobody's going to bat an eye. Try to put doctor or MD on it, and then people are going to lose their freaking minds. But who would want to do that at this point in time? Anyways, but I digress. So, exactly, Chachi, too late. We got our guns already. They ain't going away. And I think that's what it boils down to is it doesn't mean anything if they're not enforcing that. And there may be some people that may be sending money off, but it's not just going to England. It's been going to all these other places. So how much of that is real? And then we look at the dark triumvirate or whatever with Vatican, London, and
Right.
DC. And it's like, okay, yeah, there might be some people that are playing along with that, but I don't believe that that's what's actually going on. But and he started out with talking about the King James version being different and stuff like that. And there are changes. It's not too terribly different. Obviously, the point that he pointed out, it makes it very clear as to, principalities and, governors and stuff. Yeah, I can see why you'd want to take that one out. But in the end, it doesn't change. Plus, now we do have access to the 1599. So he made a play for that once upon a time, but it doesn't mean that it's happening to this very day. But I can see the royals being petty and saying, well, we want that back. And no, come and get it. But this isn't your land. This land is not your land. It's made for, all of us here.
Oh, goodness.
Not for your royal ass. We'll never be royals.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm done saying it. I can tell you that. You're welcome.
We got Jack.
There we go.
While Donald Trump is rightfully asking for a refund, some lefties are actually showing character, and it's looking like the Democrat Party is remembering how racist they are, so they may have to use Joe Manchin to do a reverse 2020. So as you guys know, I listen to all sides so I understand what everybody's thinking, and all night last night I kept hearing how straight white males are fleeing the Democrat Party. And all those lefty pundits were saying they didn't think Kamala Harris could bring them back in. Then I see this headline this morning. As of right now, they're claiming that Joe Manchin is considering switching his party back to a Democrat so Kamala Harris has some competition. But my guess is they needed a straight white male who can present himself as more of a centrist to pull back some of their fleeing base. So they will act like he's running against her when actually he's going to be her wingman, then he'll drop out because she's just too tough, and in a reverse 2020 she'll ask him to be her VP. Anyways, that's all speculation. I don't know. And honestly, who could blame straight white males from fleeing the Democrat Party? The Democrat Party fucking hates you. Then Trump posted this, pointing out the obvious that everybody has known for quite a while, that Joe Biden was not going to be the nominee, and instead this was just a game to siphon money away from the opposition. And surprisingly, I'm seeing a lot of leftists agree with this and say, yeah, everybody around Joe Biden, all of the paid-for social media influencers, all of the mainstream media propagandists have been lying nonstop to cover up Joe Biden's cognitive decline, including Kamala Harris. Even the ones that choose to remain clueless are pissed off at the fact that their votes won't count for anything. Instead, it will be the Democratic oligarchs who get to decide. Apparently screaming about fascism, tyrants, and saving democracy, and then becoming fascist tyrants who spit all over democracy isn't the best idea. Anyways, they're throwing all kinds of shit at us now, so keep me updated on what you guys have seen and let me know what you think about that fuckery over here somewhere.
Thoughts?
It is an interesting concept. The media should pay us back. Yeah, and all of the people that have been presenting this lie to us. I think that that's kind of a really trashy thing that they've done. But I do believe that the media companies are going to be taken down. I don't think that they're going to be around much longer. I know that they'll have their licenses yanked at some point in time after Trump's in office and we get the Federal Communications Commission figured out, because they should have done it a long time ago when they became propaganda machines. Oh, you can no longer get money from the people of this country because you are a politicized entity. PBS, squarely at you in that scenario, let alone all the others. But that was one of the agreements for these media companies to be able to present on the air and not have to pay for those licenses, because they were, they promised to be fair, truthful about the things that they say. And
Fair and balanced.
well, that's Fox News, but they're supposed to be fair and balanced. All of them are supposed to be fair and balanced, but they're not. Oh, the Amish are sitting behind Trump in Pennsylvania. That's great. Let's see. Jenny says, you'd think that those who voted for Biden in the primary would be mad that their vote was stolen. And Jenny, I agree with you 100% on that one. Go.
We were talking about that.
Yes.
You and I.
Mm-hmm.
I
Is that it?
No, it's just, why are they okay with it?
I don't understand, because it's not the bad guys, the Republicans. Scary. Ooh.
Okay.
It's whatever. They just zombies.
I guess. I thought Eflin was taking care of those.
Well, he's got lots of work to do.
Okay.
All right.
You ready?
Yeah.
Your season of isolation is incredibly lonely. I know all about it. But you got to understand something. You're chosen. Now's the time to draw closer to the Father. He will not allow any distractions in your life. Don't compare yourself among yourselves. You're on a different track. God has a purpose. He has a plan. He has an assignment.
Thoughts?
He does have a plan and a purpose and an assignment. I have faith. It may not be crystal clear to each and every one of us yet, but as we get closer and as things get more and more weird, the fact that we were not woken up, all of us speaking here, everybody who's watching, you have not been woken up simply because of the entertainment and joy that you've received out of seeing the truth. I mean, let's be real about that, right? So why were you woken up? I can only believe that you were woken up a little bit earlier because you had the ability to use your heart and your mind and your natural gut instincts to lead people as we come out of this great sleep that we've been in. That is part of the Great Awakening. As people wake up, some people are going to need more help than others. Because, yes, a lot of people are going to Trump, but that does not mean that they actually know all of the things that are going to come out. Because the only way that we can prevent this from happening again is if people understand and the concept of frazzle drip and what was really going on Epstein Island and how the whole thing worked. And all of that information isn't out yet. People have heard about Epstein. They have heard about the island. They think it's just a few people, but I don't think that most people understand the extent that it was. Because people wouldn't be going to see the movies. They wouldn't be caring about Kevin Spacey. They wouldn't be caring about, all of these things out there. All they understand is that it's a very small part and those people are taken care of now. And so as this awakening continues and once the corruption really comes out, I do believe that there's going to be a lot of heavy lifting done by the people who have been ostracized and called conspiracy theorists this entire time, the people that people wouldn't listen to before. And it's not that they're going to listen to each and every word that you have to say, but we can answer direct questions with direct answers. And people will be more likely to listen at that point in time. So we will be doing some shepherding on our own, but we have to get to a certain point on our own so that way we have the ability to do that. And so I think that this thing is far from over right now, but I do believe that we are getting towards the finish line ish, maybe. Well, probably not.
I think we're closer than
We can see it now.
Yeah.
And it's not the day that Trump gets back into office. I think that there's going to be some ridiculous things happening. And I do like the some of the theories that I'm hearing out there that like that stuff that was on Rambo's show, was it yesterday or the day before? I don't remember. I don't recall. But anyways, what they were talking about is like that darkness. It says 10 days and then next line it says darkness.
Yeah.
And that darkness doesn't necessarily mean darkness, like, the lights are going to be out. It could mean that nobody's getting information from the National Command Authority, i.e. the president, vice president. The news is shut down. They're not even getting any real information. And that's when the arrests could be happening because there's absolutely zero communication going on by anybody at that point in time. Like bigger things are going to happen. They're not going to just shut off the phone systems or the power or anything because it's fun. They're going to be doing it because of a purpose, because other things are going to be happening in the background and they don't need the communications going on. And so these are the things that, we're aware of all of the stuff that goes on with Q. We're aware of a lot of the conspiracy theories, and we'll be able to put the pieces together to get people to stay calm and not react poorly. So I do believe that there is a purpose for each and every one of us, and it will become clear the further we go.
Yes, absolutely. Are you ready?
Yep.
3 things I needed to hear today, and maybe you do too. 1, no matter how kind and generous you are, you'll never satisfy an ungrateful person. 2, learning how to remain calm when you're disrespected is a superpower. And 3, giving up is not an option.
I chose this one today because all of those were so true. We have been through so much, and giving up is not an option. And we have learned so much. And we're right a lot of the times. And regardless of what anyone thinks when it comes to what's going on in this crazy world that we're living in right now, just remember this and repeat it every day if you have to. God wins. And we have been right on so many things. And is it going to be bumpy over the next few months? Yeah, it is. But do we know that everything's going to be okay? Yeah, we do. So just remember, we're okay and we're in this together. Any seasoning?
Not a whole lot. He said remain calm. And I think that that's going to be one of the most important things is to be that calm in the storm. We do need to remain calm. Remaining calm, not letting our emotions take over, not allowing our emotions to snap back at the people who have been, ostracizing us for all of these years. The script is going to flip, and we need to not do the very things that we've been shown, but we need to do the right things. And the only way that we can make sure that we keep a level head is by keeping our heart with God and remaining calm. And it will seem difficult at times, but it's a practice that we should all be in. And I think that that's really going to help things out moving forward in the future. But
Absolutely.
beautifully said.
Thank you.
All right. So, with that being said, we'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us today on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Rumble, and Pill.net.
And if you haven't already, please take a moment and hit that thumbs up button if you're over on Rumble or YouTube. Take that red pill if you're over on Pill. Smash that heart if you're over on X. And don't forget, Doc will be joining
Doc will be here
us
tomorrow. Yeah,
Yay!
super excited. Doc's going to be here tomorrow, and we're excited about it, and we look forward to seeing all of you then. So, with that being said, we love you all. Have a great night. God bless, and be safe.